Over the past few months, there's been a disturbing increase in homicides across the nation. Murders are up 16% on average in 25 of the nation's largest cities compared to this time last year. And Boston has seen a nearly 40% increase. It's an epidemic my next guest has been fighting for more than 25 years. And as with coronavirus, this one affects communities of color far worse than any others. In 1994, Tina Chéry founded the Louis D. Brown Peace Institute, which is named after her son, who was shot and killed a year earlier on his way to a Christmas-time meeting of Teens Against Gang Violence. Now she's expanding the organization's efforts to help communities heal from trauma and end the cycle of violence nationwide, starting by teaming up with the Anti-Violence Partnership of my hometown, Philadelphia. Tina Chéry joins me now. Tina, it's good to see you.
Thanks, Jim. Thanks for the invitation.
Why is the murder rate up so dramatically, both in Boston and around the country in all these major cities?
You know, Jim, I wish I could have the answers to that. I don't know if it's up or we're giving it attention now during COVID-19, but every year is the same thing. And so for me, I'm not sure I would say it's up. I would say it's really, we are now giving it attention because what COVID is doing is really magnifying the lack of services and the lack of value that we place on communities of colors, especially when it comes to violence.
Well, it's interesting you say that because I was worried in anticipation of talking to you. I was thinking today, does the greater focus on police and the violence perpetrated by some police officers direct more attention to the incredibly important work you do, or does it direct attention away from it because many of the families you work with, much of the violence you deal with doesn't make the headlines, isn't the lead story on the evening news? Has it brought more people in, or has it pushed people in another direction?
You know, for us, what it does, it's really a both and, because while it's focusing on the homicides by police because police officers are sworn to protect and serve. And it seems like we're focusing on the not protecting, the hurting and killing of people of color. At the same time, it has put even more emphasis on the day-to-day violence that happens within our community. And what it does, it's when we talk about death, we're a culture that still is not comfortable dealing and addressing the issue of death. So we're getting much more work. Families are being referred to us. Our resources are even of greater needs because even with those that are dying due to COVID-19, even those that are dying through substance abuse, to alcohol, to suicide, this is where they come. This is where the referrals are made because as a culture, we don't know what to do when death, especially when it's tragic death that knocks on our door.
You know, Tina Chéry, I think it's fair to say you and the Louis D. Brown Peace Institute are institutions in this city. And when I woke up to read the other day that you're expanding into Philadelphia and possibly other places beyond, what's that about? Why are you doing that?
Well, I think it's hitting the news now because I'm grown up. I've decided I'm no longer going to be a side chick to the city of Boston. I am now an extension of the work of the city of Boston. So after 26 years, I'm courageous. I'm grown up. I'm now going to take my rightful place as a Black immigrant woman in this city of Boston. This is where now I need to magnify the importance of the Peace Institute and of an organization that's led by a woman of color. We've been doing this across the country for years. Now, we're just now speaking it out into existence. It's hard to promote the work that you're doing when you're dealing with families and the worst of the worst without capitalizing on someone's suffering. So now is through our training when we went to Philadelphia with the Anti-Violence Coalition, the burial guide is a tool. You know, we've talked about this burial guide, Jim, from when we first met. So that's the tool because as a society, we're not equipped to handle or work with families in that first 24 to 72 hours after death notification. So with the Anti-Violence Coalition in Philadelphia, the burial guide, they brought about 2,000 burial guides that everybody in the coalition that's connected to the families in that first initial intervention receives that burial guide. So that's the tool that we are using now, and it doesn't matter where a homicide happens. It doesn't matter who that victim is. It doesn't matter who is working with that family. That family can bury their loved one with dignity and compassion that's effective and equitable regardless of the circumstances. So I think now, again, I'm much more courageous. I can't wait for the city to promote what I do. I now have to step up and step out to really say, here's what we're doing and here's who we're partnering with. And we are a model for the country right here in the city of Boston.
Tina, the only thing I disagree with is I don't believe that Tina Chéry can get any more courageous. But if you say so, I accept it. It's good to see you. Tina, good luck with the expansion. We appreciate it.
Thank you.